Let's head now to Bloemfontein. Nandipha Magudumana awaits the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court's decision on her bail application. Defence lawyers, of course, having a tough time today trying to dispel the state's argument portraying Magudumana as a married woman who was a criminal mastermind in her lover Besta's prison escape. The state went on to say she deserted her two children to flee the country with Besta. Our senior reporter Silindelo Masikane has been following the case and she joins us now. Slee, thanks so much for joining us. So the state prosecutor questioning Magudumana's claims that she was kidnapped. This is something that came up just recently. Up until then, we saw her smiling at him in court, holding hands. But now the state is saying, kidnapped? Really? Did you even lay a charge when you got returned to South Africa? Talk to me about what the state is saying in that regard.
Well, in essence, what we're seeing the state doing is opposing Dr. Nandipha Magudumana's bail bid, saying that the interests of justice do not permit her release. In fact, their main argument is around the fact that they believe that she's a flight risk and that if she is released on bail, that there is a possibility that she will try and evade justice. And we saw Magudumana launching her bail bid last week, where the state then submitted an affidavit from the investigating officer that went into a lot of detail in terms of the alleged role that Magudumana played in Besta's escape from prison, as well as the ties and the relationship the state believes that she has with Besta, indicating to the court that she is Besta's lover, that she's one of the masterminds of the escape, that there's evidence showing that she claimed a number of bodies, one of which, of course, ended up at the Mangaung prison as a decoy, aiding Besta's escape from prison. Part of that affidavit also went into detail about how she ended up in Tanzania, and that, she was found in the company of Besta as well as a Mozambican accomplice, also stating that she had several passports on her, one of which was her own, which was also not stamped at any of the entries into Tanzania. So the state was really trying to show the court that Magudumana is not a candidate for bail, also saying that she's challenging her deportation despite claims that she says that Besta kidnapped her, saying that why is it that in the 4 months that she's been back in South Africa, she has not opened a case against him. So they don't believe, as a Schedule 5 bail application, that Magudumana has shown the court that she should be released, or that the interests of justice permit her release. But really, in the closing arguments, they went point by point, the state prosecutor, in trying to really dismantle what her legal team was trying to show in its founding affidavit for her bail application, that she's got ties to South Africa, that she's got family here, that she's a doctor, that she doesn't have any previous convictions, that she's a first-time offender, saying that this is really null and void, that this should not be considered given the gravity of the charges against her, and the fact that the state believes that she played an integral part in aiding Besta from escaping from the Mangaung prison, also saying that her role also suggests that she has no regard for the criminal justice system, and that there's really little chance that she will actually honor the court date or even pitch up for the trial. Let's take a listen.
The investigating officer then raises an issue. He says, if that is the case, why did she not open a criminal case? That question of the investigating officer is answered by Advocate Tameli. What does he say? He says it's the applicant's choice whether to open a case or not. It is her choice. and Mr. McClone don't say it's a choice, says it's her prerogative.
Yeah, so the state's saying, if you were kidnapped by Thabo Bester, forced to leave the country, why haven't you opened a case against him in this regard? To what extent have we heard from her defence team? Which points are they trying to refute? I mean, have they come back and said specific issues around why they believe that kidnapping is plausible? What other issues have they tried to elevate as they make this bid for bail?
In essence, what we saw her defense team doing with their affidavit to try and convince the court that she should be released, Sally, is that they are trying to show that Magudumana would not evade justice, that she wants to clear her name, that she does want to, at trial stage, show the courts that, in fact, she is one of Bester's victims. But what they were also trying to show the court, Sally, was that the issues that were brought up by the state in opposition of bail are issues that should be tackled at a trial court, saying that Magudumana has every right not only to apply for bail but to also reserve her right for her defense for trial stage, saying that she has the right to remain silent and that the state cannot in essence force her to reveal her defense at this stage, also alluding to the fact that just because she's challenging her arrest and deportation in the higher courts, it has nothing to do with the bail court proceedings, saying that there are certain requirements in which a candidate who is applying for bail must satisfy. They've confirmed an address where she's going to be living. They've shown the court that she's a first-time offender. They've also given a hint to the fact that she did not leave South Africa willingly, that she was forced out of the country by Bester, and that the court needs to consider this, despite that they haven't gone into great detail, but they're trying to show the courts that she isn't in essence a flight risk, and that if she were to be released on bail, that she would actually come to court to try and clear her name. Let's take a listen to her lawyer.
It introduces a factor that was completely unsubstantiated with evidence, that for 11 months, and this is a naked fact, for 11 months, we have been, the applicant has been evading trial, or evading justice for 11 months. In what manner, shape, or form? It doesn't come out completely from the evidence of the state. It's a standalone allegation, unsubstantiated. Submit, Your Worship, that such assertion should be rejected by this honorable court.
It's an interesting one. We're actually getting a lot of the details of what's likely to play out in the trial through this bail application. I understand that on the 11th of September, she's going to find out if she is successful in her bid for bail. I also understand it was her 35th birthday today. What was she like in court today?
I must say, Sally, she definitely looked like she was in much better spirits, seemingly quite nervous. We were expecting that there would possibly be a judgment this afternoon, but I think it was really a welcome surprise for her to see her father, to see her siblings in court. They actually did bring a birthday cake for her. It's her 35th birthday, and I think obviously for anyone, you don't want to spend it in court, but I think it brings some comfort to have your family there. So she definitely looked in much better spirits, and there were a number of interactions between her and her family during the adjournments as she was going back down to the holding cells, where you could tell that her family was just encouraging her to stay strong and basically showing her that she wasn't alone.
Thank you so much for chatting to us this evening. That's eNCA senior reporter Silindelo Masikane. Now,